Well, it's difficult. Maybe we have less than the 10 minutes, or yes. It's difficult to make a synthesis of what my colleagues just said. But, well, I will begin with Ricardo, that he shows how now the difficulties of work in the present and how they are the dynamics and the trends are marked by the demographics, how the population is changing, shaping new models in the entire world, but also how the economics, after, well, this is my speech, but after 30 years of neoliberalism or just a single model of economics in the world, we have consequences, and those consequences are about concentration and also the quality of employment and the new division of the economic world. So that faces to the future. And with many challenges, and one of them is the technical. What's going to happen with the new technology and new production models? I will say something about that later. And well, basically that how those dynamics are very challenging, and so how social economy could be a new social pact to protect employment and have new social protection models. Well, maybe that's the synthesis of Ricardo. Excuse me, but I just have a post-it for each one. And then Benedicto, I think it's one of the, to make a link, one of the consequences of the new models, the new economic models is how, and demographic as well, how very big amounts of population that have to live and to search for the means of well-being, they have to be, the only thing that they have is their work. And so they have to mobilize that work in terms of many forms. And one of them is the informal market. And so I think that your presentation was very clear in talking about, well, from the the African Sub-Saharan experience, how those mobilizations and dynamics of work, informal work, will have a very specific relation with social economy. And I really loved how you describe it, and how even you spoke about Latin American Arraceto, talking about the components that we have in the informal economy and the social economy. And so how, if we are if we can be clever and creative, we can make intelligent links to have those populations that now are excluded to new forms using the social economy tools. Is that right? And finally, from Argentina, we could have, from Mirta, we could have this context effectively from one of the, well, the deepest region of the world in terms of inequality, and how also the context that we have in the present with the models of capitalism in this region has marked populations to be very small populations with everything that can concentrate richness and services and many things in a very few, and big amounts of population trying to get their lives with very small resources. And you told us about well, how in Argentina specifically they're having some initiatives about the recuperation of factories and also the recycling people working in that. Maybe it's that 5 minutes. But now from what I can tell is that I was thinking with your 3 presentations as a question, and also a question for my work in Mexico, if we could take social economy to a different level, to a structural level. Of course, it is nice to talk about the people that have were unemployed and now they have small initiatives. But I think that capitalism is not thinking about that. So just let me put an example. 2 weeks ago, I was in a summit in Mexico about finances, and it was not the ILO who was the organization promoting that. They were the three certification organizations, Moody's, Standard & Poor's, and Fitch. So the dialogue was quite different. And they are not talking about how to change things, how to think about new structures. They are thinking about the future of work, the future of revenues, but they are talking all the time about how they are going to finance or make the logic of finances in every single human activity. So trying to relate what you just said and that experience, how to think about social economy also in those terms, to make those logics, maybe the C factor, in all things, infrastructure, new technologies. And at the end, I think that the classic consideration about the property of the means of production is more valid than ever. They were talking like that, because they assume that the biggest element to create richness is capital. If we have the opposite conception of that, if we do believe that the most valuable variable in the construction of richness is work, not capital, how to think and reshape things about property of the means of production. And I think that more than ever, social economy can do that bridge between the two conceptions, the old one and the future one, but putting people into the center. And I think that's not an ideology, but a need to create a better future. That's what I can say. Thank you very much.